Night wind moved through the pines and set the torches hissing. Too many witnesses. Senior healer Calder has the border report, one of the elders said. Bronwyn stepped forward, satchel still over one shoulder. The border has been hit twice in 3 days. Not by weather, not by accident. If the rogues test us again tonight, they'll come through the low pass, where the scent trail thins near the creek. Cyrus heard her before he really looked at her. Then he did, and his hand locked on the back of his chair. Old Niall sucked in a breath beside the torches. Even Joran stopped fidgeting. Bronwyn faltered for a single word. Her eyes lifted to his and stayed there. An elder broke the hush. Alpha. Cyrus felt every gaze shift to his hands braced on the chair. New Alpha, and half the clearing still watched him like a verdict waiting to be delivered. There is no claim here, he said. The clearing went still enough for the pitch to spit in the torches. Bronwyn did not plead. She stood with her chin level, one thumb working at the worn edge of her satchel strap. The report, Cyrus said, colder now because he had already done the harm. Continue. A warrior spoke over her at once. I can finish it, Alpha. The low pass needs a heavier patrol. Bronwyn turned toward him, not angry. Worse, exact. You left out the creek crossing. If they funnel us there, we lose the rear line. The warrior hesitated, then looked to Cyrus instead of to her. Others did the same. Cyrus saw it a moment too late. We ride at dawn, he said. Border patrol, full rotation. Bronwyn Calder goes. Her gaze returned to him, steady now and empty of anything he wanted. You deny me before the pack and still require my hands. Yes, he said. Then let everyone hear it clearly, Bronwyn said. I go for the wounded, not for you. No one spoke after that. When the gathering broke, wolves gave Bronwyn just a little too much room as they passed. Before dawn, Bronwyn tied shut a packet of dried fever leaf in the workroom. I asked for reassignment, she said. You can send Tomas with the patrol. He knows bandaging well enough to keep pressure on a wound until we get someone home. He knows enough to be dangerous, Mara said from the doorway. And you know that. Bronwyn did not turn. Then send 2 healers. We do not have 2 field healers, Mara said quietly. We have you. Bronwyn pulled the string tighter than she needed to. Convenient. It is not meant to be. No, Bronwyn said. It rarely is. In the patrol yard, frost silvered the rails. Wolves gathered in leather and steel, breath smoking in the cold. Cyrus stood by the gate as if the night before had already been filed away under duty. His face was still, too still. Senior healer, Calder, he said. You'll ride center. If there's contact, you fall back with the injured. Bronwyn adjusted the strap on her satchel and met his eyes only once. I don't take instructions on healing from people who have never held a bleeding body together. Thomas bent over a girth strap, suddenly found the buckle fascinating. Cyrus's jaw tightened. This patrol requires discipline. This patrol requires skill, Bronwyn said. You have my duty. Do not mistake that for ease. His voice dropped. I am not asking for ease. No, she said. You are asking me to behave as though what happened was administrative. A horse stamped and rang the bit against its teeth. At the border, Cyrus said at last, we cannot afford division. Bronwyn swung into the saddle. Then you should have thought of that in public. He took that without flinching, though his hand checked once on the reins before settling. She turned her mare toward the gate. I ride for the pack, she said. For the wounded. Nothing more. Cyrus mounted after her. Mara said nothing from the fence. The patrol filed into the dark. By late morning, frost had softened into black mud around the creek and the marker stones. Stop. Thomas jerked around. That was him. I heard. You heard, Bate, Bronwyn said. And if you rush that brush line, you will step exactly where they want blood. Cyrus swung down from his horse. report. Joran was half carrying a young warrior, whose sleeve was soaked to the elbow. Kellen caught a slash at the marker stones. Not deep. Bronwyn dropped to her knees beside him. Not deep bleeds just as well, if fools keep him standing. Down. Kellen swayed. Thomas glanced at Cyrus. Bronwyn looked up. I said down. He can still walk, Thomas muttered. He can still die, Bronwyn snapped. Pressure here. Not there. Do you mean to empty him faster? Thomas froze with both hands wrong. The pause was brief, but plain. The look past her, the wait for Cyrus. Do as she says, he said. Bronwyn did not thank him. Joran, break that branch. Splint. Kellen, look at me. Stay with my voice. A low growl rolled out of the creek brush. Bronwyn lifted her head, blood on her fingers, eyes on the alder break by the crossing. There, the crossing. They injured one to bunch us. Cyrus followed her gaze. Mud was broken on both banks, and the creek would kill the scent. How many? Enough, she said. Move the line back from the creek now, or they take your rear. The first rogue burst from the brush as she spoke. Circle, Cyrus roared. Steel rang. Wolves shouted. Kellen cried out once and then bit it back under Bronwyn's hand. Stay down, she ordered him. Tomas, if you fail me again, he bleeds on your conscience. Over the clash, Cyrus answered before anyone else could hesitate. You heard the healer. Move. Brush cracked at the creek, and the line bent back from it. By dusk, they had reached the border shelter. Rain had started, thin at first, then steady on the roof. Wet wool steamed by the door. The room smelled of iron and damp pine. Sit, Bronwyn said. I am sitting. You are listing. Don't make me drag you the last inch. Cyrus braced a hand on the table and lowered himself with a hiss. You enjoy this? No, Bronwyn said, cutting open the torn cloth at his flank. If I enjoyed pain, I would have accepted your manners as courtship. His breath caught. You still have teeth. I need them. Hold this. She pressed a folded cloth into his hand and pushed it to the wound. He obeyed at once. Her mouth shifted, just slightly. Outside, a wolf paced the porch boards. Inside, rain tapped the roof, and neither of them spoke for a while. How bad? He asked. You stayed on your feet too long. You tore it wider trying to prove something no one required. They always require it. Who? The wounded? They require you alive. The council, the rivals, every elder who thinks a new alpha must be carved from stone. Bronwyn cleaned the wound. He went rigid under her hands. Don't fight me, she said, quieter now. I know this kind of tear. If you tense against it, I have to do it twice. A humorless sound left him. That much is plain. She paused, then say it plainly. His eyes lifted to hers, bright in the lamplight, though fever had not yet taken him. I knew what you were when I looked at you last night. Her fingers stilled against his skin. I knew, he said. And I denied you because too many were watching for weakness, a healer. An outspoken woman, a bond striking me in open council. So you made me the shield for your pride. Yes. Rain thickened on the roof. Bronwyn drew a slow breath and reached for clean linen. You speak of fear, as if it ennobles the choice. It does not. No, she said. It only explains it. He watched her bind his side, watched the steadiness of the hands he had made suspect in front of others. You still came when I bled. I would have come for anybody in my care. But not with those hands, he said quietly. Not with that anger. She pulled the bandage hard enough to make him bare his teeth. Be grateful. I still possess restraint. He stripped off his heavy coat with awkward, painful movements and held it out to her. You're cold, he said. Bronwyn stared at him. You are half open at the flank. And you are cold. She looked at the coat for a moment, then took it. Do not mistake acceptance of wool for forgiveness. I would not dare, Cyrus said. When her shoulders settled into it, he closed his eyes for one breath and opened them again. Night deepened. Rain worked steadily at the eaves. The others slept beyond the door, or pretended to. Wake enough for this, Bronwyn said, kneeling by the cot, or I will wake you the ugly way. Cyrus opened his eyes to lamplight. That from the healer? I must be recovering. You are fevered. Delirium flatters itself. She loosened the bandage, and at the first pull of linen from his skin, his hand shot to the edge of the cot. Easy, she said. That word means nothing in your mouth. It means survive. He breathed through his teeth. Her fingers were efficient, merciless, then suddenly careful where the wound had stuck to cloth. The bond stirred low and hard inside him, like a bruise pressed from the inside. Bronwyn felt it too. Her hand paused. Do not stop, he said, voice rough with pain. I had not meant to. Rain, breath, the soft tear of clean linen. His pulse under everything. I knew, he said abruptly. Not only in the clearing, before that. Pieces of it. Why your scent followed me after meetings. Why every report in your voice stayed with me longer than it should. Bronwyn tied off one dressing and reached for another. And still you said there was no claim. I said it because I was afraid to be seen wanting anything. Her laugh came once, short and sharp. You did not only deny wanting me, you taught them I was safe to doubt. He caught her wrist, not hard, but with need plain in every finger. I know. She looked at his hand on her skin. Do you? Yes. His throat worked. When Thomas looked to me while Kellen bled, I knew the shape of what I had done. It was not private. I made your hands suspect. She blinked once and looked away. You did. I am sorry. The words, stripped of guard at last, hit harder than she expected. She leaned in before she could stop herself. He met her halfway. The kiss was not careful. It tasted of rain from her hair and fever on his mouth. His free hand found the back of her neck, hers spread over his chest, as if to steady him and herself at once. Bronwyn, don't speak, she whispered, and kissed him again. The bond pulled hard enough to make him catch his breath. He made a sound that was almost a growl, almost her name. She felt the answer in her own body, fierce and immediate, and for one hot instant, hated nothing at all. Then he pressed his forehead to hers, breathing hard. Come back with me, he said. When we return, stay with me, quietly, for a little while, until I can. She went still. Quietly, she repeated. Cyrus's eyes opened fully. Too late. Bronwyn set the fresh bandage beside him, with hands gone precise again. There it is, she said. The same wound, wearing a softer voice. He tried to rise. Pain stopped him. Her gaze finished the work. I was not asking to hide you. You were asking me to wait in the dark, while you decided when I was safe to acknowledge. Bronwyn, no. Her voice was soft enough to cut. You do not get my body as an advance payment on your courage. Rain kept striking the eaves while she tied his bandage closed, and did not kiss him again. At first light, rain ticked from the roof. His bandage was fresh. Bronwyn, hold still. I have held still badly enough for both our lives. Then begin now. Don't shut me out with a strip of linen and a command. I am not shutting you out. I am finishing my work. Your work touched me last night, like I was not another task before dawn. And what did you offer in return, Cyrus? I offered the truth. You offered hunger first. The truth came after, and limping. His breath caught when her fingers pulled the knot tight. I was wrong. Yes, I know what I did to you. Do you? When Thomas looked past me while a wolf bled, when men waited for a nod from anyone with broader shoulders, when my hands stayed the same, and my authority vanished because you spoke one sentence. Do not think I have not seen it. I think you saw it only when it struck your own house too. Rain tapped into a warped bucket by the far wall. I can repair this, he said. Give me time. Let me steady my position first. Let me choose the moment. Her hand stopped on the knot. There, she said. That is the wound. Bronwyn. You still ask me to carry your caution for you. You still want me in your bed and unspoken in your hall. That is not what It is exactly what you mean. You only dress it better now. Later, back in the den infirmary, boots sounded on stone. Lay him down, Bronwyn said. No one touches that bandage unless I say so. He should be seen by Elder Sen, Joran said from the doorway. Given the Alpha's condition. Bronwyn turned. I am seeing him. Joran hesitated. I only thought. You thought my judgment needed a second voice. His hand stayed on the latch. No one moved past him. Cyrus pushed himself upright with a hiss. Out. Joran froze. Alpha, Out, Cyrus said again, his voice flat with pain. If Bronwyn gives an order over a wound, you obey it before mine, if mine is not already spoken. Go. The door shut. Bronwyn did not look grateful. He had not expected the small drop in his stomach, but there it was. She set a jar beside him. Change the dressing by nightfall. Fever leaf if the heat rises. Water, not wine. That is all I get from you? That is all you have earned. Bronwyn. She met his eyes at last. You have my skill as healer, nothing else. Not my trust, not the rest of me. If you want more, restore what you broke where you broke it. And if I do, then I will hear you. She took up her satchel. Bronwyn, stay. No, she said, and it landed like a bar across a door. Not hidden, never again. Night again, torches in the wind, elders, warriors, rivals, all of them watching. The challenge matter is first, said Elder Niall. No, Cyrus said. Heads came up at once. No, another elder repeated. No, I speak first. Alpha, one of the counselors said. Carefully, this is not the order agreed. That has been the trouble, Cyrus said. Too much has been agreed for me, while I stood silent. A murmur moved through the crowd. Bronwyn stood near the outer ring, satchel over her shoulder. One hand already near the flap. Bronwyn called her, Cyrus said. Every face turned. She did not move. He stepped down from the raised stone instead of summoning her up. That drew a stir through the clearing. I denied my mate before this pack, he said. I did it knowing the bond was real. I did it because I was afraid. The crowd shifted. Thomas looked at no one. I was afraid, Cyrus said again, louder now, that if I claimed her before elders and rivals, I would look weak. Ruled by instinct, unfit, so I chose pride. I chose image, and I let that choice fall on Bronwyn Calder. Even the muttering stopped. She was never the shame in that clearing. My cowardice was. A counselor cut in, scandalized. Alpha, you need not abase yourself for truth? Cyrus turned on him. I do, if truth is what restores what I damaged. He faced the pack again. Hear me clearly. Bronwyn Calder is my mate. Openly, before every witness. And more than that, she is your senior field healer, and her judgment in emergency healing stands without question. If she gives an order over the wounded, it is obeyed. Her authority answers only to me, and if I undermine it, I fail this pack. Thomas swallowed hard. Joran stared at the ground. Niall said, You would bind pack authority to a healer's word so absolutely? Yes, Cyrus said, because she has earned what I tried to deny. Because the last wolf, who waited on a fool's permission, nearly bled out on the stones. The wind snapped the torches, then Bronwyn spoke, quiet and carrying. "And if the pack tests that tomorrow?" Cyrus turned fully to her. "Then they answer to me tomorrow, and the day after, and every day after that. I will not hide behind caution again." Her eyes held him. "You say the cost as if you know it." "I do not know all of it," he said. "That is part of the shame. But I know this much. I would rather be judged for loving you openly than praised for failing you in public." "No," one interrupted. At last Bronwyn came forward, one step and then another, until she stood before him in the same place where he had left her alone. "You have restored my name," she said. "You have restored my work. I would spend the rest of my life proving I mean to keep both restored." She drew in a breath that caught halfway. "Then hear me clearly too, Cyrus Alden. I am not your weakness." For a second, he only looked at her, as if she had struck him and steadied him in the same blow. "No, you are the strength I was too proud to claim." She put her hand against his chest, over the wound and the heart beneath it. "Then I accept your apology." He went very still. "And I accept the bond," she said. Around them, the clearing let out its breath. He touched her face as if the right had been hard won. "My mate." "Yes," Bronwyn whispered, smiling now. "Your mate. And still your senior healer. So do not tear that flank open trying to look dramatic." Laughter broke, relieved and warm. Cyrus bent his brow to hers, careless now of every watching eye. "Alpha and healer," he said. "Together?" "Together," she answered. Later, as the gathering thinned and the torches burned lower, he asked, "Will they listen now?" "They will," Bronwyn said. "Because you did. And you? Will you stay?" She drew him down and kissed him, smoke in both their clothes, rain still caught in his hair. "I will stay." His arms came around her, not hiding her, not stealing her away, but holding her in the center of their world. Under the dark pines, before pack and stars alike, they stood openly mated at last.